All right, everyone. Welcome to episode 16, Sweet 16. Sorry we've
Yeah.
been so pitiful about getting these up. Summer is busy for me, and Kyle always is busy. So, plus my kids are getting sick and all kinds of stuff. That's what happens when you go back into the real world. Thanks, COVID. Kyle, how are you?
Doing pretty good. And as always, incredibly full currently. So just had some Ricos. So if you've never had Ricos and you live in Elkhart, it's pretty average, but it's worth a try.
Yeah, I had Chipotle, so I'm also very full. So feeling good. Feeling good. Well, we got stuff to talk about. We're going to probably do our most controversial segment ever, and it will not be that controversial. Mr. Dave, we'll talk about zipper merging later, as I mentioned the other morning when I saw you. But NBA thoughts. Game one of the finals was last night. I'm going to be honest, I haven't watched an NBA game in a while. I am not all that riveted, and I have been busier than I can believe, but I've been following along. So, Kyle, why don't you tell us about what you thought about what you saw last night first?
Well, I mean, in the end, the Eastern Conference was not exactly a riveting affair. No Giannis, no Trae Young, and when Trae Young was back, very, very limited Trae Young, which basically looked like Trae Young his first year of basketball.
You mean like when he was like
Me,
6? The Y?
well, first year of NBA
Oh, okay.
basketball.
All right.
You'd think. To me, if Giannis is not healthy and Drew Holiday looks like he looked like last night, this series is going to be really quick. That being said, they missed a million layups in the first half, and Chris Paul went crazy. So you never really know. Saric is now out for the next Saric, whatever.
Yeah, it might be.
He's now out for the next. The problem is though, is if Ayton ever gets in foul trouble, who on earth are they going to play? I mean, the seconds, and I mean seconds that he was out of the game, they looked abysmal. Not because he drives their offense, but because who on earth is protecting the rim? If it's Frank Kaminsky, or basically it's Craig, or maybe at some point Jalen Smith will play. But how bad does he have to look in practice that he's not even getting minutes when this is their big?
I've already heard that sentence today on a podcast.
Yeah, we're regurgitating content. But for real, I mean,
it's pretty bad. I mean, they took him over Halliburton and other guys like that. It's not good. It's not good. But that draft they had where they didn't take Doncic now is basically pushing them to finals with Bridges and Ayton. So you can't be too mad about that. And yes, Ayton has been awesome. It's his coming out party. It's one of those things. It'll be interesting to see what happens to his career when Chris Paul isn't the point guard on the team he's on. But I don't know if maybe this is just something that will stick now. But my thought was going into the series, I don't know who the Suns really have that can match up with Giannis, but it seems like Ayton's going to be fine. And if that's true, I don't know how the Bucks just don't have enough guys. The Suns have a better team, and they have a better offense and a better coach. And Chris Paul is a better floor general than anything that the Bucks have. No offense to Drew Holiday, but they're not the same. And so we're going to give our predictions later, but I don't know. I don't have high hopes for a great series, if we're being honest, but maybe I'll be wrong.
Well, here's the other thing. I mean, Giannis definitely did not look the same. I mean, he was fine. He still was 20-17, which people are fawning over Ayton for being 22-19.
Yeah.
Giannis was 20-17.
It's like, oh, it's a down game.
Oh, what a terrible game. I would love to be 20-17 every night. But at the same time, if that's all you're going to get from your best player, and Chris Paul and Booker are going to combine for like 55 points, this is going to be a problem.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, I was talking to one of the guys that's volunteering for me at my sports camp this week, and I said, look, basically the Bucks to win will need all three of their guys to play really well. I don't know how that's going to happen 4 times. I don't know how it's going to happen 3 times. The Suns have a bigger margin for error. They have home court advantage. They're healthier. I don't know. I know we make fun of DiVincenzo on this podcast, but they need him in this series. And they don't have can't play Bryn Forbes those minutes. It's not going to work. And
and that was my next point. And that as soon as Bryn Forbes came into the game, it was just exploit Bryn Forbes hour. So
and the problem is if it's not him, it's Brook Lopez, and it's the same thing with a different, just in a different way. Or Bobby Portis.
Or Connington.
Yeah.
Or Connington. Or Bobby Portis, who's just going to attack.
Chris Paul cooked last night. I did see all those minutes. So, yeah, I don't know the Bucks have a lot of options. I mean, the option is like, hey, Chris Paul always gets hurt in the playoffs. That's their option.
Yeah.
Which none of us are cheering for because that's all we've seen in this playoffs. And So yeah, I mean, it would be weird that the oldest successful point guard of all time would be the one that stays healthy in this weird season and wins the finals. But I want to mention something real quick, and this is going to be a hot take, so get ready. This whole playoffs, and part of it's the podcast that we both listen to, has been like a Chris Paul just love fest. Like Ryan Russillo, who we both listen to, is like literally in love with Chris Paul. And I'm happy for Chris Paul because he's a good competitor. He's all the things we want from an athlete. But here's the deal. For a longest time, we've all known that Chris Paul's a dirty player. He's basically a tyrant. He's like basketball's version of Napoleon. He's not like a great guy to get along with, it appears. I've never been a huge fan of Chris Paul, except that I do like how he competes, so it's kind of hard not to. But like, we've all just decided, like, this is what happens with older players, of course. But like, I'm not like thrilled for Chris Paul to win the championship. I would rather see Giannis win. I'll be honest. And maybe that's just because I like Giannis's story more, and I don't think that he'll intentionally hit you in the nuts on a rebound and stuff. So.
All right, so counterpoint to that. One, I can't stand watching Giannis shoot free throws, so I will not root for him.
That's terrible.
Two, Chris Paul puts on a clinic at point guard. And in a league where the actual distributor and the point guard that actually makes the rest of the players around him better is disappearing, it is nice to see. I've never been a Chris Paul fan. In fact, that Clippers team, the Lob City Clippers, probably like my least favorite NBA team of all time. Just they were brutal to watch. It was a constant complaint.
Until this year's Nets.
Understandable. But at the same time, it's a disappearing act in the NBA, and it's kind of fun to watch right now just because you don't see it anymore. Your point guard is a scorer. Your point guard is Jamal Murray or Steph Curry or something along those lines. So I love Steph.
Yeah.
And Steph does a little bit of that, but it's the reason Steph makes people better is because he sucks the entire defense to him, not because he's intentionally getting guys the ball, that type of thing.
So. I was actually talking to my boss, one of my bosses today, Pastor Jamie, because he was out watching us play basketball at camp today, and we were laughing about what kids want to do, which is just shoot 80-footers, and that's it. I said, look, it's not his fault. He didn't try to do this, but Steph Curry literally ruined youth basketball, because that is what youth basketball is now. And even 7-footers want to be Steph Curry. And so, yes, Chris Paul is a dying breed. And in a sport that now everyone can shoot, it would be even more important to have someone like Chris Paul who can get everybody the ball and knows when to get people the ball and where to get them the ball. Like, we've all played with people who throw terrible passes because they're just going careening into everyone, and they can't believe you didn't catch the ball that was whipped at your ankles and make a three in rhythm. There's something to be said about getting the ball where you need it. And he just knows. He's great. There's no doubt about it. He's great, and I'm not a big fan. So there's that. But I like Booker and Ayton. Your boy from Arizona.
Yeah.
I was thinking about this in the shower today. Think about all the money that Arizona paid all their players and how much trouble you're in. And you know how much that led to NCAA tournament success? Oh, it didn't. Not at all. Not any. All right, go ahead. Sorry, I cut you off.
So one topic I want to hit on the NBA here real quick, and looking at like the outlooks of these teams, and this is another offshoot of the podcast that I listened to today, but they were talking about who is more desperate as far as these two teams are concerned, as far as who do you think will actually get back to the NBA finals in the future between these two teams. And I want to do a quick quiz for you here. Can you name 10 through 16 on the Bucks roster? Because this Bucks team has no way to get better, but I can do most of it for the Suns roster because they actually have legit depth. But this Bucks team is like 7 deep, and they're maxed out with 3 players that only one of them is a max player. I don't even know who these people are, and I'm reading them. Okay, so I'm going to read these people, and I'm going to get butchered for butchering these names. And nobody's going to know who
they are. But all right, let's go ahead.
I don't even know the first names, and all I've got in front of me is their initials, and I'm going to try to just make it up and see how wrong I am. So M. Diatke, Marcus.
That's not
T. Antetokounmpo.
That's
Thanasis. Is that Thanasis?
It's Giannis's brother.
J. Jackson. And
it's not Jaren.
I know a Jaren Jackson.
It's
I know
not
a
Jimmy
Josh
Jackson.
It's
not
Jimmy
Jackson. It might be
Jackson.
Josh Jackson. Could be. Go ahead.
Anyways, Jay Nwora.
Oh, yeah. I know him. He played for the Bulls for a while. Jonathan, I think.
Jonathan?
Yeah.
S. Merrill.
Like Meryl Streep? They just got it backwards?
And then we got E. Bryant.
That's
Who are these
Kobe
people?
Bryant's
This
brother.
this literally sounds like a Cavs team from LeBron's first 2 years. Like this team
Yeah.
has no way to get better.
No, they're their host, and they got no moves, and they traded their picks for Drew Holiday,
Or
and
four
yeah,
first round picks for
who
Drew
you know
Holiday.
what they'd be better off with having traded picks for? Oh, the other guy that they're going against in the series, Chris Paul.
Chris
Whoops.
Paul. And probably
Whoops.
for 2 first rounders instead.
Yeah, because nobody was like, well, that's a terrible contract. Well, guess what? That terrible contract's about to hoist the trophy. All right, you want to talk about anything else about? Well, first of all, last thing for me, let's just have a moment of joy for the Clippers being out of the playoffs. We haven't had a podcast since that. There's just some joy. Everybody take a deep breath. We don't have to watch that garbage team anymore. Playoff P, who, by the way, I have to say, has gained some respect from me. But
pretty good.
I'll continue to be happy that he didn't win the NBA title. And Kawhi, I'm all the way out on Kawhi. I've been right all along. He's miserable to deal with. Can't stand him. Anything you want to add to that?
1, fun guy, still love him. 2,
It's not
I'm taking
fun.
one more Hawks victory lap. That's it.
You should. You should. You won both of those bets. Very impressive. All right. We're going to talk real quickly about not a sport we normally talk about, track and field. I'm probably going to say this girl's name wrong, and I apologize to her. Sha'carri Richardson. If you've been paying attention to sports at all, you know probably our best chance of winning the women's 100 meters. Tested positive for marijuana after her race when she won the heat or whatever to get into the Olympics. And so she has been removed from the team and will not be able to race in Tokyo. I have 2 thoughts. They are not close to the same, but I'll let you start if you want, or I'll start. You decide.
I would actually like you to start some intrigued by what your takes are, because I also have 2 takes that are very, very different.
I think our takes are going to be the same.
There probably are. So
we tend to be pretty together on these. Okay, here's the deal. The first one, to me, is obvious, but there are going to be people listen to this and think I'm an idiot for saying this. Marijuana should not be a part of it. Who cares? It's illegal in like half the states in the United States. It's going to be legal in all of them before like 2025. It's not a performance enhancing drug. If anything, for a sprinter, it would be a performance de-enhancing drug. I have no issue. I don't care if my sprinters smoke weed a week before they race. I don't care. It does not matter to me. You will not see any of it in this Bachman household ever, but I don't care. Like, that's not a big deal to me. If like she's growing a 3rd arm because she's injecting andro into her arm every day, like I got a problem with that. But the marijuana thing, I don't care. Like, it's ridiculous that she can't race because of that. That being said, I cannot imagine training my whole life for something. I mean, we both cared a lot about baseball. I gave a lot of time and sweat and effort into baseball. I cannot imagine what it takes to become an Olympic level athlete and knowing what you can and can't do and doing something you know you can't do when you know you're going to be drug tested in a week. Like, this is my get off my lawn moment of this podcast, but like, personal responsibility does still matter. Like, it's not like she didn't know the rules. As long as the rules are a moving target, like the rules are the rules. They can be really stupid. I think we can all agree that that's a stupid rule, but that's just like woefully irresponsible to me. And I feel terrible for her, but like the people who are like apoplectic that they're not changing their rules, like you don't have any leg to stand on if you just start moving all of the lines when you want to, because this girl's really good and this one's really not. So we'll nail her, but not the one that's really good. Like I'm gonna talk about Trevor Bauer in a little bit. It's this. You can't just move the goalpost because you want to, because it makes you feel better. You need to move the goalpost for everyone, and I think you should on this instance. But like, I don't know. I'm not like up in arms that they're not letting her race. I think it's a stupid rule, but it's there. Like, I don't know. What are you teaching kids if you're like, hey, you don't have to follow the rules to be really good. It doesn't matter. Like, we've been doing that with male athletes forever with how they behave towards women and other stuff. I don't know. I don't want to compare this, by the way, to like abuse of women. It's not close, but I don't know. The rules are there. What do you think? I went on for a while there.
So I think we're kind of coming at it the same general idea here. And pretty much my notes here are stuck in between somewhere where she knew the rule, but also is a ridiculous rule. But at the same time, it's not a ridiculous rule. So two thoughts here. One, I'm very in favor of decriminalization, not just marijuana, all addiction drugs, because treatment is much better than punishment. So if you have someone that's struggling with addiction,
that's an important point, kids.
Why would we, one, ruin their lives with a felony arrest, put them in jail for years and years and years and do nothing for rehab when we could just rehab the person? Two.
Sorry, I'm not stopping you. I'm telling you that you're making a good point.
I do see the other side, though, because this is a drug that's illegal in most of the world. This is not a United States event. This is a national event. So in most of the places, you don't have access to this without risking your freedom. And there have been scientific studies that show that it does really help with pain management, with recovery time, so on and so forth. So to have it be legal in Colorado or California or wherever else, in Michigan now, but not be available to Kenyan athletes or wherever else you want to compare, it is an unfair advantage. I mean, and the standards for drug testing and everything, it's not just illegal drugs. You can't even have elevated levels of caffeine when you're coming in for your testing. There's literally limits for ibuprofen. They have to make it a level they have to make it a level playing field. So I really do see why it would be illegal the day of the race. Months in advance seems a bit ridiculous to me. But
and she did admit that she did it right before. I mean, she was grieving, and I understand all that. So I don't want to paint her out to be a bad person or something. It's not how I feel at all. It's an unfortunate situation, but I don't think it's an avoidable situation either. And listen, I'm not really a patriot, but when the Olympics are on, you might as well like drape me in the flag. I am in. So like if we're losing chances for medals, that stinks. And I feel terrible for her. I'm glad she's only 21. I mean, by the next time the next Olympics comes around, because it should only be 3 years. She'll be 24. It's still the prime of your life. I can tell you, I'm 34. I don't feel like I'm in the prime of my life anymore. But at 24, I think she can still compete again. So hopefully she'll get a redemption story and, smoke a joint after she wins, not before. Sorry, Dad. All right. Any other thoughts you want to talk about on that?
I think that covered it.
I think we probably about 10 minutes more than we should have. We are not going to talk about the stuff at ESPN with Maria Taylor and Rachel Nichols. That's a mess, but that's convoluted, and there's a lot of different ways you could go with that. We're not going to still not going to talk about Deshaun Watson. I did want to mention one thing about Trevor Bauer. It has been my experience growing up a sports fan and growing up collecting sports cards and selling sports cards that there is a humongous double standard when it comes to athletes and star athletes in particular. And Trevor Bauer is bordering at least on a star athlete. He was Cy Young winner last year. He's a really good pitcher. He is clearly a jerk and a half. And we've known this before the allegations came out. But for a long time, this stuff just got swept under the rug. And we tend to believe athletes for no real good reason, except that they've kind of become idols to us. And so that's just how it goes. I am encouraged by the fact that the Dodgers canceled Trevor Bauer bobblehead night and have removed his stuff from their team store and have basically said, like, we hope this stuff isn't true, but we have no interest in partnering with someone who if true has done all of this stuff. And I think that's a step forward, especially for male athletics, and I'm here for it. People are more important than sports. That will always be true, always. And so you don't get to hide behind your jersey and go out and abuse women. I'm out. Could not tell you how out I am on that. So I want to applaud the Dodgers on that, even though that should just be common sense. But we would mention that and not go too far into it. You're going to let me just take that one alone,
aren't you? I have literally read not one single word about this story.
It's pretty rough.
Just haven't gotten to it, so
it's not great. And he has a pattern of bullying and stuff online with women. It's the red flags were all there. Let's put it that way. So, all right.
So I'm going to follow it up with planting my flag in your court.
Great. Thanks. I'll take it. All right. You said you have a few animal facts that you may not be like super proud of, but you got them.
Yeah, so I have one more NBA fact that I had to hit on here. And then I have two animal facts, and neither of these are amazing, but they're more making you guys, our wonderful 25 listeners, go out and do some homework and watch some videos. The first thing I wanted to point out, though, is we do have a lot of conversations about the greatest player of all time in the NBA when we're getting towards final time, and a lot of times it ends up hinging on LeBron and Jordan, and you got the rings conversation. And I wanted to bring up the actual GOAT, James Jones. He made 7 finals in a row, built one of the worst franchises in the league. And the Suns took them from, what did they win? Under 40 games last year?
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't very good, bringing them to the championship. So just wanted to take a moment of silence and respect Mr. James
A moment
Jones.
of silence.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no, we're not doing that.
Anyways,
right,
that's all I got for James. The animal facts here. So 2 videos you need to look up and watch if you've never seen these. The first is a giant Australian rat. And these things are some of the coolest things of all times. And rodents get a lot of hate. Rats actually make tremendous pets. They literally can learn their names just like a dog. Actually smarter than cats. So those of you who have cats, and we had cats growing up, and that's our bad. I apologize to the public for that.
We loved our cats.
Yeah. Rats, much smarter. They can learn tricks. They can learn how to do all sorts of things. So you know how you have like sniffing drug dogs and stuff at the airport and stuff? Rats were actually trained to find landmines during World War II. They were fairly large. I mean, they're about the size of a cat, but they were still too light to trigger the landmines, and they would dig at the landmines and show them where they were so you could walk to safety. So rats saving lives, and now we're killing them, so it's our bad, humanity. There is a really cool video, though, of this rat doing tricks that I found on Reddit this week, and I can send it to you. We can link it with the video.
Yeah, we always do really well with that.
Yeah, always follow up. The second one, I absolutely will send this link because this is one of the funniest videos I've ever seen, and we're sticking with Australia here. There was this guy, they're riding into the bush with his dogs and they're hunting or something. I think they're actually trying to flush some animal out of the brush. And they go around this corner and all of a sudden they see the dog and this huge kangaroo. And those of you who have not seen videos of kangaroos close up, like these things are absolutely terrifying. Like they're jacked. They look like Arnold Schwarzenegger. And then they have this talon on their back legs that's like this long. And they just slice stuff open with it. So you have to be really, really careful around kangaroos because they can kill you. I mean, they can gut you really, really quickly. So this guy sees his dog in a headlock, sprints over there, and you can tell he's just about to poop his pants on the run over there because this dog, that it's like this much taller than him, this kangaroo, goes up to the kangaroo, squares up with him.
I've seen this one.
Kangaroo's just like, what's happening? Lets the dog go a little bit, and the guy just goes, bam, and punches the kangaroo right in the face. The kangaroo's just like, does like a double take and then just runs away. And it's one of the greatest things I've ever seen in my entire life. And this isn't an animal fact at all. It's just that you need to watch that video if you haven't seen it.
Yeah. And listen, Australia is a terrifying place. That guy probably ran past like 3 snakes that could kill him immediately while he was on the way to punch the kangaroo. You'll never see me outside of like Sydney, Australia, in Australia. No way. No thanks. Spiders, snakes, everything can kill you there. No way. All that, like, even like the sea life around like the coral reef and stuff, that stuff all kills you too. There's just no way. No thanks. Anyhow. But Australia seems like a cool place as long as you don't have to actually stay anywhere where the things could kill you. All right. Talk about baseball real quick. Our first love. My team's lost 9 games in a row. Cleveland Indians, down to 500. Their season is over. Our whole starting staff is hurt. Kyle's team, still terrible.
Lost about 10 to 12, I think.
Yeah, so it's been a depressing time. I try to watch the Braves because I love Acuna, and he did go 3 for 5 with a homer today. But even the Braves lost 2 or 3 to the Pirates. I don't even know. I'd probably just stop. All Native American themed teams, I got to stop watching because they're making me depressed.
And the Cubs have lost 12 in a row.
That doesn't make me depressed at all. I enjoy that greatly. Them and the Yankees being atrocious is making my heart very happy.
So, well, and when we did this podcast last, the Cubs were in first place and the Brewers were like 7 games out. Now the Brewers are like 12 games up on the Cubs.
Yeah, they are taking diverging paths, like a Robert Frost poem. That's it. All right. And the problem is the Cubs lineup doesn't look very good anymore, and they don't have near the pitching that Milwaukee does. And so that probably is going to stay that way. And the Cardinals are all hurt, and that's not going to work either. So Wild times. All right. Well, I told Kyle that I came up with my halfway, because we're about midway through the season, awards, and then he could agree or disagree with mine, and that would be our baseball segment for the day. So we'll start with MVP. American League, I have Ohtani. I think he's kind of taken the reins of that for now from Vlad Jr. Thoughts?
Other than that, he's basically the modern day Babe Ruth, and no one cares because he plays in Anaheim, and baseball is slowly dying.
Yeah.
If he's not saving baseball, I'm not really sure who is, and it's kind of a bummer he's not in a bigger market.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's technically in Los Angeles, basically. They're the Los Angeles Angels.
Yeah.
I mean, they have the two. I mean, between him and Trout, it's unbelievable. I mean, they get their whole lineup healthy. You look how deep that lineup is. It's unbelievable. Jared Walsh hit his 21st and 22nd homers today. They have Rendon, they have Justin Upton, they have Mike Trout. I mean, it is a staggering lineup. The problem is they need to really stop pitching Ohtani, because I'm just waiting for an arm injury to ruin what is an incredible season. But the problem they have is that he's also their best pitcher, because they have the worst starting rotation I've ever seen in my life. It's really bad. And it's been that way for forever, for all of Mike Trout's career, which is a disaster. By the way, I did want to apologize to one guy about not mentioning him in the MVP discussion. My man, Cedric Mullins, who had his 16th home run yesterday. This guy's been unbelievable. He plays for the Orioles, so who really cares? But he's been awesome.
Criminal he's not starting in the All-Star game.
It is absurd. He should have been the first American League starter in the outfield, as we discussed however many days ago we last did this podcast. Quite a few, actually. All right. My National League MVP, hurts me to say it because I want to pick Acuna, but it's Fernando Tatis Jr. Thoughts?
The only other argument would be DeGrom if he ends up winning like 20 games somehow.
Yeah, but he keeps getting rocked. He gave up 2 runs in each of his last couple starts. His ERA is up over 1 now.
Speaking of those two, though, I did want to mention a parlay that I saw that some random guy had made that he posted. This was done on March 31st of this year at 3:22
before the season started.
So parlay Jacob DeGrom for NL MVP and Shohei Ohtani for AL MVP. DeGrom was plus 5,000. Ohtani plus 2,000. Put $467.20, which I don't know where that number came from. Plus 1,070,000 odds. So he bet $467 to win $500,000.
And there is actually Tatis to get hurt again.
A legit chance that could hit
for a while. It could, but the problem is, there are good candidates in the National League. He really needs Acuna and Tatis to get hurt for a while. That would really be the way to go. All right, rookies of the year. This is not a good year for rookies. It's not. It has not been. My pick would be Adolis Garcia for the Rangers in the American League. I think the other guy you could make an argument for is Casey Mize, but I would not make that argument. And Garcia is not really hitting well right now. It's a really crappy group. And it is in the National League, too. Trevor Rogers is got to be the pick probably at this point. He has a 2.14 ERA. His brother's on your team and is not very good, but he's really good.
Actually, he's been the only good reliever on the entire Twins team, so he actually is fine. Taylor Rogers probably going to get traded here to a contender.
Yeah, so your team isn't a contender, and neither is mine. The White Sox are going to win the division by probably like 25 games. They get Robert and Eloy back soon. Yikes. All right, Cy Youngs. The American League is a tough one. It would have been Garrett Cole a couple weeks ago, but then they stopped letting him use the stuff that makes the ball stick to your fingers, and he keeps getting killed. And it has become so clear that the Astros were literally cheating at everything. All their guys, their spin rate went through the roof when they would get to Houston. Everyone's like, oh, they must have an incredible pitching coach. Garrett Cole's like, yeah, they just let me throw 4-seam fastballs. Well, has the Yankees stopped letting Garrett Cole throw 4-seam fastballs? No. They just stopped letting him put that stuff that you used to put on your hands to catch footballs. Stick them. He's not any good anymore. So it's Kyle Gibson, I guess. He leads Major League or American League pitchers in WAR by quite a bit. He's 6-0. He's got low 2 ERA. So if you're counting at home, 2 of the 3 major awards I have going to the Texas Rangers, and they are terrible. So that's the American League in a nutshell. What do you think about that? A couple White
I mean,
Sox that could get a look.
it's interesting to look through the pitching stats. Like if you sort it by ERA, and there is in the top 10, there is 1, 2, there's 3 AL pitchers in the top 10 in ERA. 2 of them are White Sox.
Lynn and Rodon.
One of them is Kyle Gibson.
Yeah. All of them could have been had by anyone in the last couple of years for not a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Rodon, the White Sox DFA'd him. No one claimed him. They signed him for nothing, and he probably ultimately will win the Cy Young if he keeps pitching the way he is, because he's on a good team. Lance Lynn, for your team, not very good. Figured it out in Texas, and is all of a sudden just like shoving every time out. So I don't know. Hard to figure out.
And in the top 25, there are 6 AL pitchers in ERA.
Yeah. Listen, the American League is bad. Honestly, what we should do is stop the podcast and just go bet on FanDuel that the National League winner will win the World Series.
World Series.
It's going to probably be someone from the National League West, honestly. All right. And then the NL Cy Young is Jacob deGrom. We don't even need to talk about that. It's obvious. After getting terribly roughed up by giving up, a couple runs in each of his last 2 starts, his ERA is 1.05. So unreal.
The only even person that's close in ERA is Gaussman, but still,
yeah. And Zach Wheeler is the other guy you could look at because of the strikeout numbers and that kind of thing, but not. It's still not close. So plus the Phillies are trash, which I love. Sign me up for that every time. All right. I've been waiting for this one. Things we hate. Fireworks. We decided to take one together this week. Go ahead. Do your thing. I'm sure I'll have more to add.
People die from them every single year, and they drive me insane. And especially living on water, people decide that the 4th of July starts in May, and I don't understand why. And I don't understand why they think the 4th of July starts in May on weeknights at midnight. So I've got fireworks going off like 3 to 4 times a week for 2 months, and it's the worst. And our neighbors put on an insane show. They probably spent $20,000 on this show, and it was kind of awesome. But at the same time, they almost burnt their house down because they shot like 7 into a tree. And why do you not have something better to spend your money on? And you just terrify every dog within 7 square miles, which care more about the dogs than the fireworks. I can sure tell you that.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to add to this. All right. Listen. You have the dogs, which I do care about. You have little kids who would like to sleep at some point on July 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, whatever. And probably most importantly, out of all of this, you have people who have gone to war, who have PTSD, who just get annihilated with fireworks. Like, these are people. They should matter to you. Like, every residential neighborhood doesn't need a friggin' blockbuster of fireworks. We don't need to see people losing their fingers and worse. I mean, you had the professional hockey player, die this weekend. It's just, I don't know. Like, I live in a place where all the houses are very close together. And we got people out here just firing fireworks up into the air at all hours of the night. July 3rd, 3:30 in the morning, fireworks. Like, why? Do you not care about anyone? Like, this is the problem. The thing that makes America great is that you can kind of do what you want. And that's also the thing that makes America the worst, is that you can do what you want. And people are selfish and trash people and don't think about dogs and kids and veterans and other people's houses and whatever. That, like, I don't know, a year ago, it was over New Year's, a year and a half ago, I was playing basketball with friends in Middlebury, Indiana, and talking about a guy that got his hand blown off shooting off fireworks over the New Year. It's just constant. Like, go to a commercial show where the experts will show you a really nice show of fireworks. I have one more thing to add, though. Fireworks, once you've seen them, they're all the same. Like, technology has progressed to the point where me and you can do this. I can upload it to the internet, and anyone in the world can watch it why would they? But they could within minutes. But fireworks look the same as they did when we were kids. I don't care about fireworks. I don't understand. I don't get it. I'm just done with them. And having kids has made me more done with them. And I don't know. I can't take it anymore.
2 counterpoints. One, you used to be a vendor of fireworks, so
okay, I wasn't a vendor. I worked at a fireworks store a couple summers to make ends meet when I first got married. And I did see, well, it made me like fireworks less because of the people going in there and clearly like choosing fireworks over feeding their family.
Feeding their kids.
Yeah,
that's fair.
Yeah. Again.
Secondly, what they need to do with fireworks is set them all off at once, like that San Diego show.
Okay, listen. I was going to mention that at the end.
Just atomic bombs in the middle of lakes. That's your fireworks.
Yeah, that's good for the environment. We used to have fun doing stupid stuff like putting a pack of bottle rockets in a bonfire and then running for our lives. That I've done, not smartly. Again, that was when I was in high school. But listen, go watch 2012 San Diego fireworks show. Something went wrong. They shut off a 17-minute show in 20 seconds, and it is the wildest thing you will ever see. You got to go watch it. It's the greatest. And honestly, I would have been so pumped to have been there. I don't even care that you didn't get to see the show because you already know I don't really care about fireworks. But fireballs in the sky, I'm in on that. That I will watch. When you can make the fireworks do the things like they do in like The Hobbit, then I'm in. I'm ready. Dragons like coming out of the sky.
Dragon fireworks.
Yeah, I'm in. If they're just balls that explode over and over again and make me want to punch a hole in the wall because my kids won't sleep, I'm out on those. I'm done. That's it. That's the thing I hate this week. Also merging. But that was last week. Got anything you want to add on fireworks?
That's all I got.
Listen, kids think they're cool. Go to the cool shows. It's great. They asked me when I was doing announcements, I was begging for volunteers at one of the church services this weekend. And so the other guy doing announcements asked me my favorite 4th of July tradition was. And I say, it's amazing how things change. When I was a kid, it was fireworks. And now that is my least favorite tradition. I actually already did the things we hate segment at church, basically. Now my favorite thing of the 4th of July is just eating barbecue. Like, sign me up for that. Just you need to set something on fire, get some charcoal out, light it on fire, put a little bottle rocket in there for fun, and then cook some meat for everyone. And everybody will be way more thankful than you shooting stuff at other people. All right. Our finals prediction. If you had to go bet on FanDuel, who wins in how many games? What's your pick?
Suns in 4. Now, I've got Suns in 6, and that's probably the most cliche answer of all time. But if Giannis was healthy, I'd still take the Suns, and I'd take them in 7. And I don't think he's going to be healthy.
All right. Mine is Suns in 5. I think the Bucks will win 1 game at home, and that'll be it. I don't know. I also could see like 4 really important guys from both teams getting hurt between now and then who knows. It's kind of been a miserable. Again, I don't want to make this into a Chris Paul hate podcast, but let's look at the teams they've beaten so far. They beat the Lakers with no Anthony Davis and a hobbled LeBron James. Then they went ahead and they played the Nuggets without Jamal Murray, and Michael Porter was hurt by the end of that series. And
with the MVP.
Okay, sure. But again, they played two-man teams, two-man teams, and both teams didn't have one of the men. And then they played, I'm going to forget because I'm tired, the Clippers without Kawhi Leonard. And now they're playing the Bucks, whose best player is also hurt. Like, I don't know. They haven't played a full-strength team yet. Good for them. They're going to win, but it's kind of the worst.
But in fairness, they have also not been healthy. Paul has battled 3 or 4 injuries plus COVID. Booker's been wearing a face mask. They just lost their perennial all-star backup power forward. It looks like the worst. Man. He looks like the worst player in the NBA when he plays. But the fact that he's playing in front of Kaminsky and now you're playing Kaminsky is a problem.
That's true.
It's also, if you're seeing every single team get hurt and you're making it through to the finish line, props to you.
Yep, health is a skill. We've been over that on this podcast. Another reason I don't like Kawhi. All right, enough with that. Go Bucks. Suns are going to win. All right, you have a family fiasco for us today?
I got a quick one. This is also a complaint of the 4th of July and the fact that there were so many dang boats out on the river that like 7 fish got run over and just decided they wanted to float up to our dock. And guess what my dog does when a fish floats up to the dock?
Puts it in his mouth.
Diving in, grabs the fish, hauls it back on the shore. The fish is just oozing blackness everywhere over the everything. It's disgusting. So the only solution is to huck the fish back into the water. And guess what he does when he comes back outside, even if the fish isn't there? Jumps in to go find the fish and just swims out to the boat infested water. So it was a very good weekend being on the water, but at the same time, feel bad for the fish. Feel bad for my dog probably getting itis from the river.
Just any kind of itis.
In the span of 2 days, he collected 2 buoys, 3 logs, all of which were like 5 feet long and about this big around, 3 Tupperwares, a Folgers thing, and 2 fish. All of which I had to throw away or huck back in.
Of course. Well, it seems like people are doing a really good job with their litter, though, on the water. So that's good. Yeah. Well, I don't really have a feeling fiasco this week. I'm sure I've done lots of stupid stuff this week, but that's neither here nor there. That's a pretty normal week. So, yeah, we went on a road trip, as I covered the other week, and I'm still recovering from that. So that's about all. But yeah, I don't know. That's it. Family fiasco is over. Recommendations. I have a good one today, but you can go ahead with yours first.
All right. I got the opposite of 4th of July. This is a good movie. It's got Mads Mikkelsen in it, who, if you don't know who that is, he's one of my favorite actors. He plays
Well, that clears it all up for us.
He plays Hannibal in the TV show Hannibal, which is fantastic, but
okay.
also hard to recommend because it is a tough watch. But I'm going to go with Arctic. This is a movie about him, and it's basically just him in the movie being stranded in the Arctic, and he was in a plane crash and is just out there by himself, and it's about him surviving and getting rescued, and it's fantastic. But it's also very bleak.
You're really like, that's your corner, like cold weather, people stranded,
nature survival. That is my corner.
So like, do you like The Gray with Liam Neeson?
Oh, it's great.
Okay.
Wolf attacking it.
Yeah. What about Balto?
I've never seen Balto.
Do we remember we read that book when we were kids about that Iditarod race? Okay. All right. I have one recommendation. It's a TV show we've been watching. I may have even kind of recommended it early in this podcast, but I want to fully recommend it now. There's a show on Netflix called, well, it's spelled Lupin, but that's not how it's pronounced because it's a French show. It's subtitles, which I usually think I'll hate, but then I end up really not caring about. It's actually pronounced Lupin, something like that. It's like, it checks all my boxes. I love shows about like heist. I love heist movies. I love all that like deception and like, for instance, like The Illusionist. That movie is awesome with Edward Norton. That movie got lost because it came out at the same time as The Prestige. Another magician movie, but The Illusionist is like 10 times better than The Prestige, and I'll stand by that. That I'm also recommending that as my movie for the week. The Illusionist is awesome. But go ahead.
Watch The Prestige first because it's still a really good movie, and then you'll watch The Illusionist and be like, oh wow,
that's a better movie.
And this is better. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The Prestige, I feel like got more, it was more of a flashy movie, so it got more buzz, but The Illusionist is cash. I kind of want to just go watch it right now if I didn't have to be up early. And then I love shows like Sherlock on the BBC, which, by the way, that's another recommendation I'm going to make. Sherlock with Benedict Cumberbatch and Martin, what's that guy's name?
Lawrence?
Not Martin Lawrence. That's the guy from Bad Boys.
Martin.
That's fair. They look nothing alike. What is it, Emily? Martin Freeman, guy who plays the Hobbit. He plays Watson. Not the Hobbit. Maybe he is the Hobbit. I don't remember.
He plays Bilbo in the
Bilbo.
movies.
That's it. And he also he's in that show I was telling you about, Startup. He's been in a lot of stuff. But anyhow, Lupin, I would watch that for sure. It's on Netflix. We're in the middle of it right now. I'm actually going to hopefully go back and watch another episode before I have to go to bed. But it's great. But I don't think Emily cares about it. It checks all my boxes. I love shows like that where there's deception and all of that kind of stuff. So check that out if you want. Or if you want to watch another bleak, all gray movie, you watch Kyle's
If
Arctic.
you are in Phoenix right now and are in 170-degree weather, or if you're in Florida and it's humid and also 170 degrees and you feel like chilling out, it's a good watch.
I'm going to do a bonus things we hate at the end because it's not a full one. Are you ready? I don't know what it takes to become a meteorologist in Florida or to update the weather apps, but it's the best job in the world because these people are freaking wrong every day, all day, 100% of the time. So we have this hurricane tropical storm thing coming, right? And I'm running an outside sports camp this week. We also have inside rotations, but it's a sports camp. You got to play outside. So supposedly Tuesday, it's supposed to be terrible outside. So they changed that forecast on the last minute at me. All of a sudden, it's supposed to be terrible on Tuesday morning. So we're scrambling, trying to put contingency plans in place as kids are coming in the door. It doesn't rain at all. Nothing happens. So then you look at the forecast for today, and it is terrible. Thunderstorms all day. So we're like, okay, we planned all this stuff. We planned movies. We got popcorn. We just did all this stuff. Try to keep the kids happy. By the time we started camp at 9:25, it was not raining, and it did not rain the entirety of the camp. The whole thing, which is great. We were able to be outside. It was awesome. But it's just unfathomable to me how you can be so wrong all the time and still keep your jobs. But these people manage. I don't know. I'm in the wrong field. That's all. All right, I'm done now. We should probably be done. Got anything you want to add at the end?
I think that's it.
All right. Well, I know the Bachman girls would love you to come see us sometime soon. So even though it hasn't been that long, hopefully we'll see you at some point soon. And you guys, we're going to try to get into a rhythm where we do this once a week on the same night every week. But right now our lives are a little crazy. So we're going to shoot for Sunday nights, we think, eventually. We'll see. But anyhow, thanks for listening. Give us a share if you want. Like us on YouTube. Subscribe, I think, is what you're supposed to do on YouTube. Like us on Facebook.
Subscribe, like, review. Unsubscribe, resubscribe, like, review. Continue the process.
Share with your friends, unless you're ashamed of us, and then don't.
We won't blame you.
Yeah, we wouldn't at all. All right. Well, we have fun with this, and we hope you do too. And if you have a finals prediction or a reason that you hate fireworks, comment on that. If you have a reason you love fireworks, save it. There's a dumpster somewhere for it that the Astros are banging on somewhere. All right. Talk to you.